Covers the Spike Reaction Show as Atlanta United defeats Red Bull New York 2-1 at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the first home match for Atlanta United in quite some time, since May. And the World Cup break has really, or the World Cup break just really threw everybody's calendars off, right? It's weird to talk about Atlanta United home match, even weirder to talk about Atlanta United win. And we're going to do both here on this episode. Sydney with you. Other guys are running a little bit late this time around, but yeah, it's great to talk about a win for a change. A 2-1 win for Atlanta United over Red Bull New York. And look, when Atlanta United gave up that goal to Emil Forsberg in the 6th minute, I, like many of you, were thinking, here we go again. This is another loss in the making. 15 minutes went by, 30 minutes went by, a half went by, 60 minutes went by, and it just stayed the same. Atlanta's attack did what it does, which is absolutely nothing. Forget how to play, I feel like, in the final third. But then Tristan Mbah, 69th minute, with a banger of a goal, Tyler, to put things back on terms. And then Fafa Pico, 82nd minute, gave the match winner off a little bit of a broken play. Not really broken play, but a fortuitous bounce, I guess, off of Ethan Horvath. It's 2-1. They still have to see.
Nah, man, he planned that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right off the training ground.
100%.
But then you still have to see it out. And 8 minutes plus stoppage time, which was another 8 minutes. I don't know why. Do you know why there's 8 minutes added on?
I mean, they had that coming together where, like, Horvath got hit in the head.
Yeah, but that wasn't 8
Miggy
minutes.
got hit in the Almironlets and, like, was down on the ground for a couple minutes. Like, that's 3 minutes maybe. Of course, subs. Cool.
Yeah, but still.
Two goals, a minute apiece. I could have seen 5. 8 minutes, I was like, I'm coming out of this press box.
So they add 8 minutes on. Like, you get boos from the crowd and all that, which I don't understand. And then you see it out. You actually see it out, which I think is the biggest thing out of this match. You're able to see out that lead that you were able to see out against Philly. Little bit of a different circumstance, right? But you're able to see it out, and I feel like, hey, it's a little something you can hang on to. Yeah. Moving on to Wednesday. Quick turnaround, Tyler, against Minnesota United coming up.
Very quick turnaround. I'm excited about these comments. Like, we actually get to have comments.
We actually get to talk about a win.
We actually get to talk about a win.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's so refreshing.
Yeah.
I am so happy. Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. It's like, I'll get the negative part out of the way. It wasn't perfect. The first half was pretty rough. But the 3 points is what matters. You hit the back of the net twice after being down a goal. That's important. You did it at home in front of your fans, which is arguably more important at the state of the season.
Yeah.
And the state of the club. So, yeah, I mean, it was a grind. And Tata Martino said last night in the press conference room when we talked to him, that, the guys haven't given up hope. They've been fighting this entire time. Like, they've been doing everything that they can to try to make something happen. And it finally came together last night for the first time in over 100 days, which is kind of sickening to think about. But you did it. That's what matters. And, yeah, you got a quick turnaround. You have 3 games in, 8 days?
Yeah.
So you got the hard one kind of out of the way. Knock on wood, quote, the hard one. But you did the one that was like, I think if you pick the 3, everybody would expect you to probably not get the best result against the Red Bulls. And you did. So if you're the players, you got to go celebrate it, man. You got to you take the day off. You come back tomorrow. You're not going to go and do a ton of like physical training, right? You're going to go and you're going to look at film. And this week becomes all about up here. It becomes
Yeah.
about, using your head, using your brain, and trying to figure out how you can go up to Minnesota and get a win. And then all of a sudden you're looking at 6 points over the course of a couple of days. And now you're having a different conversation.
You have a winning streak, which is what
Yeah.
this team hasn't had since May,
Yep.
since you beat Toronto and Montreal back-to-back matches. But we asked Muyimba about it, right? And he said, we just got to take it step by step, right? You don't get anything for winning this match. All you get is 3 points. The only thing that matters is he had more goals than the other team. And if you have more goals than the other team, doesn't matter how you do it, you still win. Still get 3 points. No matter how pretty or how ugly it looks. But Tyler, I don't want this team to just spoil the momentum that they picked up on Saturday night. You gotta respond. You gotta start well. I feel like, I mean, if you take a look, Nashville, they look pretty good. You took a look at New England, you throw that out. Charlotte before that, you came back to draw. And against Red Bull, you get a comeback win. So if you put those matches together outside of outside of New England, this team is starting to put together a string of matches where they scored a couple of goals in a consecutive fashion. I don't know how much you can take from that, but it's definitely promising to look at, I guess.
It's encouraging. I mean, look, everybody's coming off that Philly match, and there's a little bit of PTSD involved, right? Because that should have been a win. And so last night, everybody's sitting there in the stadium, first time for everybody back in the bins in front of Atlanta United in front of the fans in over 3 months. And it looks pretty grim in the first half, if we're being honest. Red Bulls were doing what Red Bulls do, which is not give the other team much time to do stuff. Atlanta was doing themselves no favors. The first touches were terrible. The passes were wayward. The shots were into the 300 section. It was a little frustrating. And then the second half comes around and it's a mixture, right? The Red Bulls, they pump the brakes a little bit, which they have a habit of doing this season. We talk about it on MLS Monday. They are not the Red Bulls that can just press for 90 minutes. About the 60th minute, they really, really laid off. They're up a goal, and they backed off probably a little too much.
Yeah.
In Atlanta, they had to do their part, though. They had to step up. You had to be clinical. Starts with Muyimba, right? Then it moves on to Fafa Pico on that kind of short corner / cross. But like, you got to take your chances. And so, man, it's a situation where going forward, you have to remember these moments. You have to look at these moments and say, like, we've got it in us. You know, we had it in us at Philly. We had it in us at Charlotte. We did the thing. Like, we played Nashville, and we actually played probably some of the best football we played most of the season.
Against a team that just beat Miami 4-1.
Beat the brakes off of Miami.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Rocco Rios Nova, for part of that. But anyway.
Atlanta United legend.
Yeah. But you did it against, like, you've had good spells. You've played against teams and been somewhat competitive, but you haven't had the final product. You did it last night. So now, from a player perspective, this is not a coaching thing. This is not a front office thing. This is not a fan thing. From a player perspective, you have to go into tomorrow, right? Because you're off today. Deservedly. You need to be off today. Relax. Get a long week ahead of you. Monday, lots of film review. You're going to go in. You're going to look at Minnesota. You're going to figure out what it makes Minnesota tick, right? They've been very, very up and down this season. They've had James Rodriguez come and go already in this season. They are a strange team, but they're not a good team. So
yeah,
it's not about going into the week saying, like, all right, we're going to go through the motions. This is where the players have to step up and say, hey, we just finally turned a corner for the first time in months. We're going to do all the normal stuff. We're going to do the film review. We're going to do the low key practice, the physical stuff to kind of stay, fresh. But hey, man, we know what type of team Minnesota is. We know where their dangers are. We know where their weaknesses are. So we're going to look at the film, but then, hey, Elias Baez, Junior Alonso, Tristan Miyamba, Miggy on the left. We see that there's a weakness over here. So what can we do as a partnership to step up, to take that extra credit into this match, and that be the thing that turns the corner on an away match? What can we do as players to get us that next 3 points? Because if you get those 3 points against Minnesota, you're coming back home to play the other worst team in the league again, and for your fans. That's where it all starts. But you can't let the momentum die after this match.
It's easier said than done though, Tyler, because when one thing goes wrong with this team, we talked about their psyche, right? This is a team that still doesn't know how to win consistently. I mean, Red Bulls was a small step in the right direction. This is not a playoff team like we talked about. But if things go sideways against Minnesota, the PTSD is going to come rushing back. Like, oh my gosh, we suck again, I guess you can say. But that takes a long time to get out of your system, right?
We suck again.
And when you're a team like Atlanta United, who has been poor for so many years, that mentality just takes so long to get out of your system.
Yeah, because it's been such a ingrained part of the past year and a half, man. Like, what
maybe
Atlanta
more than
has
that.
won now. Let's see,
3 this year or 4
I'm gonna
this
make
year.
myself upset. Yeah, I'm looking at this. How many this year?
4 this year, and then
5 last year.
5. So you won 9 matches in the past
9 matches in a year and a half.
That's teams have won 9 matches already this season.
Yeah. Yeah, there's 4 of them in the Eastern Conference alone. Nashville, Miami, Chicago, and New England. Yeah. And then there's even more in the Western Conference. No, sorry, I'm looking at the Supporter Shield. But overall, Nashville, Miami, Houston, Vancouver, LAFC, San Jose, Chicago, and New England all won 9 matches this season alone.
And
it's ingrained.
A season and a half to do that if you're Atlanta United.
Yeah. It's an ingrained thing. And, we can talk about coaches. We can talk about the front office and all that kind of stuff. The culture has to change. In the short term, the only people that can change the culture are the players. The long term, yeah, you can bring in new players. You can let them get settled in. You can make changes here and there. But the only people who will actually change the culture in the short term are the players. And so that's why I say it's so important. It's imperative that the players go into this and they take ownership of this themselves. You can't go into this match and go through the motions again, because the motions have led you down a dark, dark alley where Batman's parents got killed. You have to go and take this in your own hands. You have to go out and say, hey, we did enough here. Now, what's the extra credit that we need to look at? What do we need to do to kind of carry that momentum, to carry that boost, to find that extra edge to go into an away stadium, which has not been Atlanta's forte over the past few years, and come away with a result? And here's the thing. I'll say this. If you got to win last night, right? You go to Minnesota. If you get a draw, cool. If you come back home and then win against SKC,
7 points.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. That's good, because then all of a sudden you're looking at they're on what, 15 points right now?
Yeah. So you're at 19 points if you draw and win.
Yeah, I mean, that bumps you up right at where Philly's at. I mean, you're not going to jump much in the standings, but it's a start.
Yeah.
I know we're, there's some people that have totally cast off the season as a failure, and I'm fine with that. I'm not blaming anybody at all for that. But as people that cover the team week in and week out a lot, we have to look at the standings. And Atlanta United still, as of right now, is still only 9 points out of a playoff spot.
Yeah. It still seems like a lot, though.
It is, but the players, if you're the players for this team, that's
Mhm.
what you have to be looking at.
Yeah.
This is not England. This is not Spain. This is not La Liga, not the Premier League, not the Bundesliga. It's not Serie A or any other league in the world. This is Major League Soccer. This is the league you play in, and if you can get into a playoff spot, all the other crap doesn't matter. You just got to get there, and then we can see what happens.
How do you think Adrian Gill did last night, by the way? First MLS start as he take a chug of beer or sip of beer.
Yeah.
What do you think of Adrian Gill?
I mean, I can take a chug.
Well, not
I thought Adrian Gill was more than I expected him to be, and that's not a knock against Adrian Gill because we have watched and covered Adrian since he got here with the twos. We've watched how he plays. He said it last night. He took about 15 or 20 minutes to kind of settle in and get used to his midfield trio, to get used to playing out of the back. He was the number 6 last night, and interestingly enough, I think he actually embodied in the one match that he's played. I'm not going to sit here and try to cast a whole season on him, but the one match he's played, I think he did exactly what Tata Martino wants out of his defensive midfielder, which is, I mean, you have to be the defensive guy. You have to be a center back when it calls for, but you also have to be the spray nozzle that allows the attack to open up. You have to know when to move forward, and you have to know when to sit back and help defend. And I think as the game progressed, he really looked a lot more comfortable, to the point where his defensive group settled in with him, but then he picked and chose the moments to move forward, and he did it really, really well. I mean, at one point you had Adrian Gill being the catalyst behind a 4-on-3. Adrian Gill played in Miggy at one point on a very good ball. Adrian Gill played in Fafa Pico on multiple opportunities. That's all coming from him. The kid's 20, and he's done it really, really well for the most part for the twos all season. And I said it.
Who'd have thought a former Barcelona midfielder would be?
Yeah, some guy from La Masia, actually. But no, I mean, I thought he said it exactly last night. Like he settled in after a little bit. It took him a minute to kind of figure out exactly, like, where guys were going to be, the speed of the game, things like that. And of course, playing against Red Bulls, that's going to take a little bit longer because Red Bulls don't give you time to think about things and do things. But for him to be thrown into a home match in front of fans at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and we've talked about that before as well, your first moment in the Benz, whether you're playing for Atlanta United or against Atlanta United, it is a daunting thing because all of a sudden you're playing in one of the nicest stadiums in the world, and you have, despite the relatively crappy attendance, you're still in front of more fans than anywhere else in the league. It's pressure. It is good pressure, but it's still pressure. And so for him to step up the way that he did, to be dynamic and to be comfortable, I was incredibly impressed.
What do we say about defensive midfielders, though? If you can't really notice them, that means they're doing a good job. They're like offensive linemen, right? If an offensive lineman sucks, you know it offhand because the quarterback's getting killed. Defensive lineman's job isn't flashy, isn't the sexiest position on the pitch, but it's a very effective position on the pitch. And I think Gill handled himself very well against Red Bull. Now, I don't know how many more chances he'll get with this team this season. Riley's potentially coming back soon. Fortune's potentially coming back soon. You have Amado coming in on transfer. So I think Gill's time will be limited with the first team, but I don't know if you don't give him another shot against Minnesota, Tyler. I really don't. I'm not ready to call him like the Denver Rodri at all or something like that. Rodri's in the news today for other reasons. Speaking of Barcelona
$87
midfielders,
million a pound? What the heck it was? That's crazy.
yeah. Speaking of Barcelona midfielders, specifically former Barcelona midfielders, but yeah, I mean, he's still a young player, Gil, at 20 years old, and this is a player that is part of the ecosystem that Atlanta United is looking to build. With Javier Perez, his connections overseas at Spain really opened the door for a player like Gil to come in. And I mentioned
Jose Silva with the twos as well.
Yeah, Silva
being Spanish.
Yeah, that's what I meant with Silva. but Perez,
I mean, Javier Perez
certainly,
has his connections everywhere too. So
yeah, absolutely.
they go hand in hand.
Absolutely. But I mentioned he had been up and down with the twos. There's been some sentiment around him that wasn't super good. But again, if you can come in and not make a mess of stuff if you're a defensive midfielder and not call attention to yourself in the worst ways, I mean, you're doing pretty good for yourself. And I thought Gil, in his first spell with the first team, looked pretty good. Wait to come back from adversity with multiple knee surgeries, injuries, just an inability not inability to catch on with Barcelona, but he ended up being loaned out to Cornellà, which is where he started his academy career before going to Barcelona. I could have that backwards. I'm sorry. But yeah, he was loaned back out to them before he came to Atlanta United. And he's played, of course, with the twos and youth international experience. So too early to tell if he's going to be like a superstar or anything like that. But I thought it was a very serviceable strong performance for him.
And that's
first
the thing,
MLS appearance.
Yeah, nor should anybody be asking that question. I mean, the kid came in and handled business as he should. The stats are in his favor, and the eye test, I think everybody can agree, was in his favor.
Yeah.
Y'all know me, not a stat guy to that degree, but like when it matches the eye test, like it makes sense, right? So like he had 55 touches yesterday. He had 3 passes into the final third as a number 6. That's wonderful. That's not what you're expecting out of your number 6 all the time.
Yeah.
7 defensive contributions, 2 tackles, 3 clearances, 2 interceptions, 6 recoveries. That's huge.
Yeah.
Won every single one of his ground duels. There's only 3, but he won all 3 of them. And he got fouled once. So like stats, they match up to what you saw. He was again dynamic.
95% passing as well.
Yeah. I mean, it was huge. So like, do you expect that on every Saturday? No, nobody can do that. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Rodri or Busquets or whoever.
Yeah.
But that is a very solid showing against a team that doesn't give you a lot of time to really make good passes or, be settled to win duels and things like that. So I'm here for it. He was, we always go to the FOTMob ratings. He got a very, very respectable 7.6 on FOTMob, which is right there around what everybody else got. I mean, it was a solid showing. So, and the other thing is too, you've got a group in the midfield who you're on a 3-game stretch in 8 days. You're going to have to rotate. Jay picked up that knock the other day. I can't wait for him to get back. Cooper, I thought, played a really good game as well.
Had a terrific pass to Miggy. Yeah.
So if you can keep some form of that midfield trio working in tandem the way that those 3 did in the second half last night, because the first half was not the best, then you can make it through this 3-game stretch and actually come away with something pretty solid. But yeah, if we're just talking about Gil, I don't think you could have asked for a better MLS debut, especially in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I mean, a goal would be cool. But
I wanted to ask you too, kind of turning the page. What do you think of Miggy last night? outside of his assist on the Pico goal. I thought he was poor before that. Just the big one I think is the 27th minute with a chance that Muyimba had the East Sky into the 300s, essentially that you alluded to.
Yeah.
My thought process is you just take the shot or you pass it over to Pico, who had the far post. And Pico was motioning to him. It's like, why didn't you pass it to me? And I don't blame him. It's been a little bit of a talking point. Should Miggy have taken the shot? Should he have sprayed it over to Pico, who had the far post? Or should he have passed it to Muyimba and should have Muyimba taken a chance? I thought Muyimba, yes, he should have taken that chance. But still, I think Miggy had a better look at it, or he could have passed it to Fafa at the far post. What are you thinking? I thought you should have passed it. That's
So
just
I've
me.
got a lot of thoughts about
Fafa.
this sequence.
Yeah.
I actually think the last option in that sequence was to pass it to Fafa, because I went back and watched the video, and the angle would have been incredibly tight to pass
Yeah.
it across, because and I forget who it was. I think it was Bazan. But anyway, you had somebody that was defending, and to cut it across to Fafa Pico, there was a very, very high likelihood that ball would have been intercepted.
Mm.
I would have been okay if he had just taken the shot, but that's a very tight angle at that point. So playing it back to Muyimba, I actually think was the right decision. The pass was not the best, but also
No.
Tristan has to settle his body and be ready for that pass. If you're making the
No.
run into the top of the box, you have to be ready for that cutback pass, because
Yeah.
in my opinion, and I don't think I'm saying anything like revolutionary here, that is the most dangerous move in soccer. You have somebody that runs to the end line and passes that ball back towards the top of the box, and
Mm.
it's just essentially a free shot on goal. Muyimba has to settle his body and put that ball on the ground on
Sure.
target.
Sure.
That being said, it could have gone any number of ways. It wasn't, again, the best pass. The finish was terrible. All of it kind of, it evolves into one issue. Asking me about how Miggy was overall, I thought he was pretty poor in the first half, but I thought and not just because of the assist and everything,
Yeah.
I thought he woke up in the second half and he
Mhm.
became a little bit more dynamic. I think he worked a lot better with his teammates in the second half as
Yeah.
well. And I think he made some more dynamic, explosive runs, and that throws off the other defense, right? It throws off the opposition defense. It opened up Fafa Pico a little bit. It opened up the rest of the midfield to be able to actually have space and breathing room to operate, because again, the Red Bulls aren't going to give you that.
Yeah.
So it's especially for Miggy, mostly for Miggy, this was a tale of two halves for sure.
I think with Miggy, and this is not a knock on him at all because he's been a tremendous player. I think he gets himself in trouble when he tries to take over matches.
Yeah.
Because he's not that kind of player. He's definitely a leader in the locker room. He's the captain. He wears the armband for a reason. Players look up to him. But I think when he tries to become the guy, he just isn't cut out for it. And that's his temperament, right? He's not this take charge kind of person. He's not this brash person. He's always smiling, always just laid back,
Dude,
relaxed.
that is the first man I've ever seen get hit in the nuts and get up and smile.
Finally, yeah.
That was wild.
But no, you never see him. You rarely see him. I think I can count on one hand the number of times I've seen Miguel Almiron lose his temper in the Atlanta United kit.
I was about to say, most of them, that was the World Cup, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. A little different, but yeah, it just doesn't happen. And he's not that player that has that, I guess, takeover gene like a LeBron James or
Marcelino Moreno.
Or Marcelino Moreno, or what have you. But he just isn't that kind of player, and that's okay. At the same time, he needs to be able to elevate the play of his teammates around him, and I think that's what he was able to do, of course, in the second half when he was able to create the assist that Pico scored on to win the game for Atlanta. And I think if he realizes that, if he just lets the game, because I said the same thing about Almada, right? And that's not to take away from the talent that Almada is, but I think the same thing with Almiron. If he tries to take over the game and become the man, it just doesn't work. He needs to be more complementary to the players that are on the roster, with Alexi, with Mbolo when Mbolo gets here, with other players. Be that leader, be that voice in the locker room, but you don't necessarily have to be the man. And I think if Miggy can get to that point, I think he'll be able to play more free and more relaxed as a player on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I actually think his decision making was pretty okay. Again, I think the pass to Muyamba was the right idea.
Yeah.
I just think it was not the best executed. I mean, and look, that happens, but like when the team is as bad as the team has been, every move, every decision is going to be put under a magnifying glass.
Mhm.
And so you look at a moment like that where it's like, oh, that's a typical soccer move. That's a typical cutback pass to the top of the box. And it's like, that's a high XG chance. If you look at the XG before that and then after that, that was what actually put Atlanta United 0.01 XG above the Red Bulls, even though the Red Bulls had a goal at that point and almost
Yeah.
a second. It was because of that pass and that shot. That shot should have been finished. Pass could have been better. Whatever.
Yeah.
We can talk about it all day. It is what it is. I thought the decision making was okay, but I do agree with you. I think there's moments where right now under Atlanta, Miggy has to be the guy that connects the midfield to the front,
Mhm.
but he doesn't have to be the finisher all the time. Though I would love to see him take more shots
Yeah.
because I feel like sometimes he can get a little indecisive in the box. I thought it was a little bit better last night. I hope that when you have somebody that is much more of a clinical finisher, hopefully that is Embolo when he gets here, then he won't feel the need to think things through
Right.
too much. And he can just play the game, be the guy that you are, be the ostrich that runs out in front of everybody and moves the ball forward, progresses it, and opens up space for everybody else to try to finish. That's what I hope.
Yeah.
And I hope that's what the missing piece is for the whole team. We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
And maybe that was it because he didn't really trust Latte Lot when he was the striker to take chances when he got them. So he just
Yeah,
said to
no
himself,
offense. I
"Hey,
didn't
I got,
either.
I got, yeah." And near the entire fan base, to be fair, but yeah, I mean, you hope that Mbolo kind of is that ruthless finisher that Atlanta United needs. And like we said, he's cut from a different cloth than a Joseph, than a Yakumakis. You don't need him to be Joseph 2.0. I mean, you don't need him to be Yakumakis 2.0. You just need him to be competent, a competent striker that you didn't have when Latte Lot was here. So hopefully, again, Miggy can, that connection between him and Mbolo, and that connection between Alexi, Abolo, and Miggy, the three of them as a DP unit, can really elevate this team. Again, not saying playoff team or anything like that, but hopefully you'll see some market improvement in this group when Atlanta United or when Mbolo does arrive.
I want to see. I just want to see the improvement to the end of the season so that the sprint season can look a little more flavorful.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
No.
I'm not expecting this team by the end of this summer transfer window to be where they need to be. I don't think Chris Henderson expects that. I don't think Tata Martino expects that. I don't think Mauricio Calabro expects that.
Mhm.
I think they expect to have the foundation and the building blocks set in place that have needed to be set in place for the past couple of seasons. And then all of a sudden you have a winter transfer window. Then you have a sprint season, and then you have another summer window before their actual season really starts back.
Yeah.
You can do a lot of work between now and the beginning of this, because literally we're looking at right now at the time that the actual 2027 season starts next year. You've got what, 2.5 transfer windows between now and then. This team could
Yeah.
look drastically different between now and then. If you've got a foundation built, by the time you get to 2027, you could have something really, really cooking. But you've got to make the right decisions. And a lot of that comes with like the guys that are here, they have to be on the same page. It can't be any more of this going out there looking like you're a Sunday league, pickup team or the media match. If you were Team Garza, sorry,
Yeah.
Greg, I'm sorry. You did absolutely destroy me.
Yeah.
I was trying to defend you, but you can't.
Happy birthday, Greg Garza, by the way.
What's that?
So happy birthday, Greg Garza, by the way.
Oh yeah,
It's his birthday.
Yeah.
Today.
I can't tell you. By the way, this is a little bit of an aside.
Hmm.
I got a picture. I've got to like share it.
Yeah.
There's a picture I got. I took a screenshot, and I've got a picture of like me and Jackson with Brad. But there's a screenshot of the media match.
Yeah.
And it was John Nelson from SDH
Mhm.
interviewing Greg Garza at the end of the media match. And you've got the video, and then behind is Guzan's team that I was on, and we're raising the trophy, right?
Yeah.
And Guzan's in it, like all of our media team is in it. Had you told me like 7 years ago that would be an image that was not created by artificial intelligence, I would be
Right.
like, what are you smoking?
Yeah. That's funny.
Anyway, happy birthday, Greg Garza.
Yeah. By the way, no one's talking about this is Atlanta United's first home match under Mauricio Culebro as president, and they're 1-0. So maybe that's what they needed. The Mauricio Culebro effect on Atlanta United.
We were talking yesterday about all the things that you have to keep the same. Whatever you did yesterday before the match, you got to do it again. So, yeah, there needs to be a media match before every
match. Yeah, before every home match. You
I
have to
am
go to
apparently-
the. God.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go to the Irish exit. Kevin Egan,
Kevin Egan's
shout out
bar.
to you.
Yeah.
Your bar has provided a win for Atlanta United, so I will be there before every home match.
Well, that's because they won, because the Irish exit is open. So maybe it's not
Exactly.
necessarily the fact that you went there, it's the fact that it's there. So shout out Kevin Egan either way.
we can figure out that variable later. Until we can figure that variable out, I will be at the Irish exit before every single home match, and I will have a Guinness.
Yeah. Hey, why not at this point, right?
I mean, what does it hurt,
Yeah. Oyos, what did you think of him? I thought he was adventurous at times, as he tends to be. with the
Adventurous
ball,
is a
but-
good word.
Yeah.
But
But
feel like I'm about to go on a true adventure,
yeah.
usually involving a pirate ship and swords and being attacked. It's terrifying.
No, yeah. But no, made a really good save on Forsberg. It looked like pretty much the same exact play as Forsberg had scored on in the 6th minute. And Lenina is just unable to clear his lines. Great ball, by the way, from Mehmeti to Forsberg, which from a neutral standpoint, Mehmeti is terrific.
Yeah.
Hall is terrific, and I can't wait to see them in U.S. Men's national team colors. So purely from a U.S. Men's national team
Mehmeti
color,
was their highest rated player on FotMob.
yeah.
Yesterday.
So purely from U.S. Men's national team standpoint, I love to see them. From an Atlanta United standpoint, not so much, but I thought they were terrific. But Forsberg, nearly scores again to make it 2-0, and then that makes a whole different match. Oyos makes a very alert save. And yeah, with the ball at his feet, he can be very, very interesting. And that's the part of this game that but that's just the way he plays, Tyler. And that's the way Tata is looking to have the team play, is build out the back. And I'm not necessarily in agreement that that's the best solution for them at this time. If you need to change it up. But I thought for what he was, and he made, I believe, 2 saves on the night, I thought it was okay. I didn't have too many issues with Oyos outside of the distribution, outside of his possession. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think I'm just now realizing this man is less than a month older than me. Sorry, I literally just learned this.
Yeah.
fact. Lucas Oyos actually saved the game last night. I'll be the first to say it twice,
Hmm.
because you mentioned the Emil Forsberg shot, and from our vantage point in the press box, where we sit, you can see those shots at the perfect angle, like to the point where when it comes off the person's boot, you know whether it's going in, or at least you know
Yeah.
whether it's on target, right? We were sitting there, and you had the first one go in, the pass straight to Forsberg, who has a beautiful turn, takes a shot, beats Oyos. Not much Oyos can do. Moments later, you have almost the same exact thing, and that shot, it was on target and it was going in, and Oyos got a fingertip to it.
Yeah.
Pushed it out, corner happens, Atlanta defends it. Cool, you keep yourself in the game. Second half, he had a very similar one, and it was like close to the end of the match. And it was the same thing. It was a diving save, fingertip. You know, you can almost imagine. I haven't seen the angle of this one because it was on the opposite side, but like it was a
Yeah.
fingertip that he got to it, pushed it out for another corner. Again, Atlanta defends. They keep themselves in it. And I will I will get the one thing about Lucas Oyos, and I see Huncho and a few other people in the chat talking about it. This man, and I put it on Twitter last night, he's the most
Yeah.
terrifying goalkeeper to watch if you're a fan of Atlanta United
Yeah.
that I've ever seen. His habit of like running off of his line and chasing somebody
Yeah.
across the pitch,
Yeah.
it drives me crazy. It makes me want to like jump out of the press box. He did it in the first half, and he goes, I forget who it was that had the ball, but he's like chasing. It's like he's got a little bit of like dog in him, but not the dog like that we need. It's like he got a little bit
loose
of rabbit
dog.
dog in him, and he just goes after people and like can't give it up. You know,
Yeah.
it's so scary to watch. Thankfully, he didn't get punished by it, but
Right. He may
mean,
well could have though.
he absolutely very well could have. I say all that to say, I actually thought he played a pretty solid game last night. I actually think it was probably one of his better matches. Distribution, not great. I thought some of his long passes were a little weak, a little bit off target. Obviously they were rushed because that is what, again, Red Bulls do. But yeah, I mean, he kept you in the game.
Yeah.
That's what you need out of a goalkeeper.
I don't understand a lot of the Oyos hate, to be honest with you. I mean, I say it's not Brad Gazan. I understand that people want to see Jaden Hibbert instead, but he hasn't been terrible, to be honest with you. I think it's a tendency to point to the scapegoat, I feel like.
No, but
What do you
man,
think?
the guy is terrifying to watch.
No, he is. He is.
This man he won his one aerial duel. The fact that he had an aerial duel to win.
Yeah.
He dribbled somebody. He dribbled somebody, and then he won one of his 2 ground duels. 4 recoveries and a clearance. Statistically, it's like, cool. Like, you did what a goalkeeper's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But then we go back to the eye test, and it's like, hey, man, you had that one moment where it was like, hey, what are you doing? Calm down.
Right.
Back the heck up. Like, you're a goalkeeper. Get back between the sticks. Let your right wing back, your right back, actually handle the ball that you're chasing after.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, again, he kept you in it. He made 2 very, very good saves. And gave the rest of the team a chance to actually go win the game.
Who else kind of stood out to you last night? I mean, we mentioned Sanchez. Great to see him back in the lineup. I thought that who else do you think kind of stood out and made a good case for them? Well, after the mess, but he redeemed himself. He redeemed himself.
We have spent many minutes talking about Tristan Muyemba.
Yeah.
On this show for the past couple of years. We have had folks with names like Michael Parkhurst talk about Tristan Muyemba. We have had folks with names like Taylor Twellman talk about Tristan Muyemba. And many, many in between. And it is so wild to watch how this man could go from a first half where it was just such a struggle to then a second half where he was the man of the match.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't just the goal. The goal was a beautiful, beautiful banger of a goal. I mean, it almost looked effortless. But it wasn't just that. I mean, he got more involved. He became an actual true number 8 that you needed to progress the ball
Yeah.
accurately and be the real pivot that the team needed to be able to separate the defense from the offense. It was good to see. I wish we could get, beautiful, wonderful, great Tristan Muyumba and not evil Muyumba in
Yeah.
the same match. I want good, beautiful Muyumba to vanquish evil Muyumba
Right.
permanently, and us just get the good version nonstop. And then he would be like MLS best 11.
We need 7.58 out of 10 million baht all the time instead of the 5.25, 4.75 he is sometimes. I think first half was like 4 or 5 out of 10. Just his bad habits kept creeping up. Much different second half. And of course, he's rewarded with the goal. What did you think of the
Highest player on Flop Mob.
Yeah, understandable since he scored such a good goal, similar really to what he did in Philly. But yeah, good to see him shake off that first half and be rewarded with that goal in the second half, the equalizer. What did you think of the outside backs, by the way, Baez and Edwards? Edwards, I thought was could have been better. Baez, I wasn't super impressed with a few times throughout the match. What do you think? What do you see from them?
I thought they were pretty bad. If I'm being
Yeah.
honest, like I don't know. I guess I'm not sugarcoating stuff tonight.
After a win.
Yeah, right. Matt Edwards, when he got into the attack in the first like 20 or 25 minutes, I actually thought he was weirdly one of the most dangerous people in the attack. Defensively, he got beat consistently. And then of course he takes the knock. You could tell he was hurt. He was down for a minute, then he got up in the past like 2 or 3 sequences. He was hopping on one foot. He needed to come off. I thought look, a right back at his core is a defender.
Yeah.
You have to be able to defend 1v1. And I just thought last night he kind of struggled.
No.
Baez, I won't sit here and say it was as egregious, but I thought he was pretty invisible for most of the match. And
he got beat on a run. I forget who it was, but I was watching and he just essentially went to the lets the guy run past them more or less. So that didn't impress me too much.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, actually, I had this thought last night while we were in the press box because where the team lines up and they're playing in the first half, they're playing towards us, right? So the farthest player from us physically on the pitch is Atlanta's left back, which is Elias Baez. And so I kind of thought in my head, like, am I just having kind of like that bias of the bias of like, being so far away from him that he's just like on the other side of the pitch. And then I went back and watched some of the highlights of the match, and he really just wasn't super effective. Like, he wasn't bad. He got beat a couple times. He helped you keep a little bit of control of the ball when it was in midfield on the left-hand side, but he didn't really do great progressing the ball. And he wasn't phenomenal defensively either. So I just kind of thought like he was there. He was a body. He kept you from getting scored on from that side, which is great.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a performance to write home about, He was there.
Yeah. Taking a look at the chat, Yodas Hulu saying Edwards was a bit of a liability on defense. Omer saying Baez deserves more blame. Baez has more minutes, 1,500 minutes. Edwards has 500. I agree. I feel like when you judge how long a player has played, it kind of you have to look at it from a different standpoint because Bias has been a more consistent starter. He's a Tata guy, right? Versus Edwards, who is not. So I think those are factors that you need to look at when you're judging players, or not judging players, when you're evaluating players. So, but yeah, I mean, you need a little bit more from your outside back.
But I
I
think
mean,
next
it's
year you could have Dom Chong-Qui come in and actually
yeah,
give Baez like some real competition because you don't have anybody competing for that spot right now.
yeah,
Ronald Hernandez doesn't need to be over there. Matt Edwards does not need to be over there. They both played there, don't need to be there.
yeah,
Chong-Qui, I think could come in and have performances like Caleb Wiley did a few years ago.
yeah. Hopefully. When you look, yeah, fingers crossed for sure. What about Jacob at center back? What do you think of Jacob at center back?
I can do without it. He needs to play right back or he needs to play as a number 6. And here's the thing. It's so hard to judge a center back because you're as good as your partner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like you can't there is no formation in football that's effective that starts with the number 1.
Yeah.
You don't say I'm running a 1-8-2
Yeah.
or 1, whatever. You have to have a partner, at least one partner.
Yeah.
And I feel like yesterday Junior Alonso actually held his own. I thought Jacob was kind of the weak point when it was the actual center back version. Throughout the entire first half, they looked like they haven't played together, and they haven't. They haven't been a center back pairing, right? Like it's been Junior Alonso and Stian, or Junior Alonso and Mihai, whoever. And soon it might be Junior Alonso and Paulo Diaz.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It doesn't seem ready, by the way. Looks like he still needs to get a little more up to speed physically, which is what Tata said. So
yeah, as Tata said last night, like specifically, like we need him to be more physically fit.
Yeah.
Which, hey, I'm cool. Whatever.
Yep.
You have Stian. I think Stian's great. I think he does a job. But yeah, I mean, you had to do what you had to do last night. It was either you start Jacob there or you start Stian. I'm glad ultimately that Stian Gregerson was the guy to be able to come on in the 75th minute or whatever it was to act as another center back.
Yeah.
And actually be the guy to help close the game out, because I think had you had to bring on or move Thomas Jacob over to the center back position in that second half, I don't know that you would have been able to close out the game the same way.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think you have a decision to make when you think about what your center back pairing is, and Tata's comments sort of allude to the fact that Diaz could be your starter alongside Alonso. So Diaz Alonso is your center back pairing, but then what happens to Stian? What happens to Mihai? So those are bigger questions to ask. Yeah, those are biggest questions to answer, and Tata knows those answers, I'm sure, but that's what it sounded like to me, that Diaz is being set up to be a starter because, again, it's his guy, and he's a player that was writing for not just depth. So interested to see where he comes out. Maybe we'll see him on Wednesday against Minnesota, and Diaz in at least some form of fashion.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's plain to see the idea here is you're going to have Junior Alonso, you're going to have Paulo Diaz as your center back pairing, you're going to have Elias Baez as your left back, you're going to have Tomas Jacob as your right back, and you're going to have Mauricio Amaro as your number 6. Yep. That's your entire defense right there, and every single one of those
in goal,
and Hoyos in goal. That's your entire defense, and every one of them is watermarked by Tata Martino.
Yeah.
So when they all are on the pitch at the same time, whatever day that may be, we're all fans and analysts alike are going to look at that with a huge magnifying glass, because we're going to say, hey, you have all your guys here now. They have to connect. They have to have the chemistry. And you better start seeing some clean sheets coming up because that's what you've been asking for months. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a big deal. But also, like as I've mentioned and I've written about multiple times, like the number 6, the defensive midfielder for Atlanta United, like under Tata Martino, has to be a guy that can get the ball forward. That's why Adrian Gill, I think, was so successful last night because he was not afraid to get forward. He knew Tristan mostly would be the one to drop back if he had to get forward. When that number 6 is operating correctly, then Tata Martino's style of ball works so much better. When the number 6 is not, everything falls apart because then you can't keep clean sheets and you can't attack well.
Yeah.
And that's what we've seen most of the season.
Yeah. Not related to Atlanta United, but Mark in the chat, shout out George Campbell. He is the captain of West Brom. So good to see West Brom beating Norwich City, by the way, yesterday 2-1, the first match of the championship season. So good for George Campbell, one of Atlanta United's own. So shout out to him.
Captaining a team across the pond. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. So all the best to George and West Brom this season. We'll see if they make their way back up to the Premier League. Anyone else that you wanted to touch on? It's good to talk about a win. It's good to not have to discuss a lot of negative for a change, but I guess anything else you want to hit on? Anything else that stood out to you?
No, I mean we've been around the block. I mean, Fafa, we talked about him in the beginning, but if I had to nitpick anything, I think he played a little bit too much hero ball. Being Abe Gordon from 92.9, we're talking about it a little bit at halftime. Yeah. There were moments where it felt like he was trying to do everything, and I get why, right? Like you can totally understand why. You just feel like you have to be the guy for Atlanta United.
Yeah.
But I think it harmed Atlanta a little bit. You mentioned the Miggy pass that went back to Muyumba instead of Fafa. I don't know how long it was after that, but there was another moment where Miggy broke away with the ball and then was able to play it to the only person that was essentially on that side of the pitch at the time, which was Fafa.
Yeah.
Granted, much higher up outside the box than Muyumba was. He passes it to Fafa. Fafa, it was a good pass. Fafa controls it and then doesn't take it first time, nor does he do anything with it after that. He kind of tries to get around the defender, tries to dribbly boy a little bit, and ends up turning it over immediately. So I think if I'm being picky on Fafa Picault, it's you got to settle into the game and be a little bit more of a teammate to your guys up top. But look, he got the goal.
Yeah,
not going to complain. And I'm happy for him. And you could tell how much it meant for Fafa because he literally went and like hugged and handshaked everybody.
Yeah.
For that.
Yep.
We're good to see.
Yeah. Let's win again on Wednesday. That's all we ask. It's 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, whatever. Get another win. Get yourself a win streak, and then come back to the bends against Sporting Kansas City, who has been really bad, even worse than Atlanta United.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be less of a people talk about Atlanta United. It could always be worse. And I feel like it's been worse for Sporting Kansas City this year.
Yeah, look, there was a little bit of a flare up to where which one was going to be the worst for a moment, but I think SKC objectively is. I mean, they deserve to be on the bottom.
Yeah, they can stay down there a little bit longer.
Yeah,
right.
But we'll see. And Colonel, I gotta give a shout out to Colonel because I know Colonel is a huge Swansea fan.
Yes.
And I watched this game yesterday before I went to the bins, Swansea versus Stoke. And I was like, hey, man, all I could think about was Colonel. I was so happy for him.
Yeah.
I was like, look, his guys are doing it. And La Liga started yesterday.
Yeah.
Well, part of it.
Are Swansea going up this year, do you think? Maybe.
No.
We'll see.
Probably not.
We'll see.
No offense, Colonel.
Yeah. It's a long season. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, great to talk about Atlanta United win. It's been almost 3 months, or over 3 months since we've been able to talk about Atlanta United win. So hopefully we're talking about Atlanta United.
What, 102 days or some crap?
Yep, over 100 days, which is a long time. But hopefully we are able to talk about another Atlanta United win later on in the week. It is a compressed match week. Atlanta United versus Minnesota United. Wednesday night, 8:30. Of course, have our coverage on scarsandspikes.com. So be sure to check that out. Go there to sign up for our Scars and Spikes Daily, our morning newsletter. That is absolutely free. So sign up for that. Go there for our latest Atlanta United news, analysis, and opinion as well. Patreon.com/Scars and Spikes. Support the work we do. Support independent soccer coverage. You can get bonus audio and video content, occasional bonus written content, and access to our Discord. Patreon.com/Scarves and Spikes. If you're watching on Apple Podcasts, or listening, I should say, on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please leave a rating and a review. We do read each and every one. If you're watching on the YouTube, please like, subscribe, and share our content. Leave a comment if you're watching us. That definitely helps us out so much as we look to give you the best Atlanta United coverage on the web. Follow us on social media. Scarves are letter and Spikes on X. Scarves Andy Spikes on Common Blue Sky. And Scarves Andy Spikes on Instagram and Threads. Tyler, where are you on social media?
I got one more. One more for you.
Yes.
Join our Score Hub group if you would like to win $100. It's essentially ending soon because this week is over almost for MLS matches, but we're doing a group every week for the next 3 weeks after this. So 4 weeks total. Whoever wins that group for that week wins $100. So if you haven't checked out our giveaway for Score Hub, go check out the social media, and we'll be doing a little bit on it tomorrow on MLS Monday, but especially at the end of the week, we'll do our matches to watch video. So check it out. But look, next 3 weeks now, you could win $100 gift card.
Yeah.
Just for playing a game. That's totally free.
Yeah. So sign up and get in on it. Tyler, where are you on social media?
ATL Pilgrim, by the way. Yeah. Score Hub and ATL Pilgrim.
Yeah. I'm at SA Trice on X, SA Trice on Blue Sky, ZH.soccer, Instagram, and Threads. Thanks, everybody. Atlanta United beating Red Bull New York 2-1. We'll see you next time.
Gotta do my golf clap.
You need a little more than a golf clap after that.
Yeah, I know, right? Golf clap. You know what I watched? Me and my wife watched over the past week and a half.
What's that?
That show, The Hawk, with Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
have you seen this?
I've not seen it. I've heard of it though. How was it?
I mean, you should probably be under the influence of something when you. It is typical Will Ferrell humor that you would see in a movie, but it's a TV show, so it's 8 or 9 or maybe 10 episodes.
Right.
It was funny. It was fun. I gotta admit, it had its moments, but I was like, dude, me and my wife got done after, I don't know, probably 4 days of watching over the course of the whole season, and the end credits roll, and we looked at each other and we're like, that was so freaking dumb.
Yeah.
Freaking Will Ferrell. Anyway,
join
Patreon and get into our Ted Lasso reviews on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, everyone.